unless you're the one that's supposed to be talking, why, go ahead and mute your phone. And let's with the nicknames that we remember that our father, John Ivan Andrus Sr., gave to his kids and grandkids. Who wants to start and tell us what they remember about Grandpa, our dad's giving nicknames?
I'm going to start here because I'm going to start driving in about 3 minutes. So Grandpa used to call me Lily Juan, and I have no idea where he got it from, but he just would call me Lily Juan every once in a while. It wasn't often, and it wasn't something that continued for, like, I don't remember him calling me that when I got to be a grown-up, but I remember as a kid he called me Lily Juan a couple of times. And when it comes to the other one, it's Rit the Rat, and because my hair looked like a rat's nest all the time. Because I would not, I was all over when I was a kid sleeping in the bed. I didn't sleep quietly, and so my hair would be a mess, and I didn't comb it before I went to the barn. So Jim gave me the name of Rit the Rat, and they shortened that to Rit, so I didn't have to come up with the rat all the time. All right, I'm done.
Thanks, Luana.
Sorry, we're muted now, so she didn't.
I know it.
I remember that I remember that my dad called my mother Alice, and he used to call her Alice Blue Gown, and he used to say that she was a blue blood. I don't know if he put those two together to call her that or not. Does somebody else want to tell their memory of what he called the kids, or should I go ahead and tell it?
I can just do mine, I guess.
Do you want to tell us what he called my siblings?
I know.
Now, let's do that first.
All right.
Okay. John, he called Huey. Irma, he called Frony and Ermintrude. Oh, no, he called Lisa, or Edith, he called Frony, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Irma, he called Ermintrude, or just Trude. And Edith,
Or Rummy.
Oh, yeah, Rummy. That's right. And Edith, he called Frony. I don't know if he had a nickname for Norman. Does anybody remember if he did?
I don't think so.
He called Margie Cat o' Nine Tails, or Kate.
Or DJ.
Yeah,
DJ.
Yeah, DJ. Harold, he called Rose. Anybody know why he did that? Seems like he had another name for Harold too, but I can't remember it. When Harold would get on the school bus, they'd call him Dof. Dof. And Ken, what did Pa call you?
Pete and Sam, and then there was a sheep man with the name Pete Kufis. So either of them, they called me either of them.
Okay.
Pete or Pete Kufis?
No, just Pete or Kufis.
Okay, called me Snubby. And Doug, he called Doug Hammarskjöld. Now, when we were timbering at that era of time, the Secretary of the United Nations was Dag Hammarskjöld. And Pa started to call Doug Hammarskjöld. And then he just called him Schult. Do you remember anything else about it, Doug?
No,
Did you
I think
remember
the
that?
man,
I do remember the name and the origin.
I think really the man's name was Dag, but someone
Oh,
called
yeah.
him Dog.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Okay. And he called Jim Uncle James. What else did he call you, Jim?
I don't know.
Shoby Dill.
What, Doug?
Shoby Dill.
Okay. Do any of you guys remember any more about what the nicknames that Pa gave?
I remember you
Uncle
called
Joseph.
Ken, go
I
ahead.
remember calling Jim was
Huh?
Dill.
Okay, Ken, go ahead about Uncle Joseph.
Uncle Joseph's family called Edith Snooky. Snooky or Snooky. Snooky, I guess, Snooky.
Okay.
I remember Aunt Oni called her Snooks.
Okay.
All
I don't
right.
know that I ever heard it before Ed Snooks was our milkman. I wondered what the relationship was.
Well, when was that, Clinton? Was that in Idaho?
Yeah, we were in Idaho when I first remember hearing it, but Oni called her Snooks. Probably the family reunion or somewhere, but
Well,
it was Snooks.
The era that Ken's talking about was way before you were in Idaho.
True. Yeah. Well, things persist.
Okay. Now, Jim, it seems to us like that you were one of the people that was the very best at giving nicknames. Do you want to tell us the person and the nickname you gave them and why?
Well, I don't know. I think they just, the name, I'm just kind of like the Indians. They get the name that they earned because of all the brave deeds they do.
That's why Doug is Hedgehog, is he did a brave deed.
Yeah.
You want to start with the oldest of your nieces and nephews and tell us the names you gave them?
Oh, no. I'm getting like Roy. I can't remember nothing.
What do
Mom,
we do?
Mom, you should let John and Margie's kids talk about the names they got from your dad.
Okay. Paul, do you want to start then?
I can. Grandpa used to call me Bunyan. And I'm
Oh,
guessing that's because I was Paul and Paul Bunyan. He'd always call me Bunyan.
okay.
And Grandpa always called me Sawed Off.
Have you any idea why?
Because I was such short to sawed off. That's what I thought anyway.
Clinton? You're on mute, Clinton.
Grandpa called Roy Wool. That was what I first remembered, because they take him on the wagon or with the horses, and that was one of the words he learned first. So he used it, and the horses kept stopping. So Grandpa called him Wool.
What about what did he call you?
He called me Feitchen because I don't remember, but I am told that it was because when I was really young, I would put up my fists and I'd say, "I'll fight you."
Linda?
Grandpa called me Pun or Punny. And then after a few years, he said, maybe your name should be Pony. And so he called me Pony for a little while, but mostly not. It went back to Pun or Punny. And I don't know why he called me Punny. I really don't know.
Maybe it was because of your brave actions.
I doubt it.
All right.
Why do I remember Punya? I thought he called you Punya or Punya.
He might have called me Punya sometimes, but it was mostly Punny, is what I remember.
Clinton,
All right.
I agree with you, Clinton. I can remember him calling her Punya. All right.
Some remember better than Roy.
What's better than Roy?
Some of us have better memories than Roy.
Oh, that's a lucky thing.
Well, maybe it is and maybe it's not. Maybe we just remember differently.
I guess it just depends on what you want to remember, huh?
Okay, Ben?
Going to be able to hear us?
I'm probably still muted.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you, yep.
Okay. You figure you already got Herm?
Oh, I forgot Herm.
Anyway.
Oh, sorry, Herm.
Well, I'll go anyway. You can jump back to him.
Okay.
Grandpa used to call me Bun-Eye.
Oh yeah,
which
that's
I'm
right.
sure was just a slight alteration of Ben I.
Yeah.
And Jim called me. Yeah, what?
Yeah, go ahead.
And Jim called me Denman Great. Mostly just Great, and I don't know where it came from. Can you answer that, Jim?
Ben, say that again.
When I found out where did Denman Great come from?
Jim, Ben wants to know where you gave him his nickname.
Who?
Ben.
Great.
Tell him because of all of the great bravery and all of the awesome deeds he did.
Well, then how come you used to say the little poem? Denman Great, oh, wash your feet. They smell so bad we cannot eat. What brave deed did I do? Clean out the sewer?
You probably walked through the cow barn barefooted. That was a great and awesome deed.
I thought Luana was got credit for that.
I remember Grandpa called Ben. First it was Big Ben Bolt, then it was shortened to Bolt.
Did they ever put timber? I kind of remember that a little bit. And then some of them added Timberman on it. I don't know where that came from. Is that a real?
I think Ben Bolt was a comic strip character.
Okay, is it Kim's turn? Sorry, I skipped you, Kim.
Kim's on
Yeah.
mute.
Kim, can you hear me? Unmute yourself and tell us about your nicknames.
I don't have one.
I'm talking about Marcy's husband, Kim.
Yeah,
Herman.
she's trying to get Herman to unmute himself.
Okay.
While we're waiting, why don't we tell, where did he get the name Herman? Was that from Jim?
Yeah, that was Jim's nickname for him. Grandpa called him Bloatus, which got called shortened to Bloat.
Now can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, Tiffany did it for me.
Okay.
They used to call me Blow. I thought it was Blowed. I didn't know it was Blowed or Bloat. And I didn't know what it was for. I thought it was either because I was fly blowed or had a big gut, and so I was bloated. I didn't know. Blowed.
It was bloated. It was bloated because you ate so much and so fast. Grandpa was sure you were going to bloat.
Oh, okay.
So he called you Bloat or Bloatus.
Okay. Yeah, I think he was worried about me.
Thank goodness you weren't fly blowed.
Yeah. Especially after I saw what fly blowed kids look like in Africa.
Okay, who's next? We did, Paul was next and we did him and Lawana, right? Now we're Dan and Nola and Jay, is that correct?
Yeah, and they're not on the call.
We got, okay.
Well, we never heard where Jim originated Herman the Black German.
Well, I think everybody knows that one. At least I do.
What?
I used to sing Herman's Hermit songs in the barn. I got him to let me put a little radio in the barn, and I'd sing along with the Herman's Hermit songs. And so he started calling me Herman the Hermit. And then one summer I was really dark and he was really white, and he says, "You're black as a nigger, Herm." And he started calling me. He says, "We'll have to add that to your name, Herman the Black German." So then it was Herman. Some of the kids started calling me nigger because I was so dark and because I worked like a little nigger boy. So I thought I was kind of proud of that. I worked hard like a nigger, and it's okay to be dark. I like being dark because I thought that was good. Everybody would try to get a suntan so they'd look good. So I was happy about all the names. I just thought I was loved more.
So Jim, Tim, are we ready to have Jim tell us about the nicknames he gave?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how many nieces and nephews got nicknames from Jim?
I think all of John's kids and all of Ken's kids and some of my kids and maybe some of Doug's kids.
So why don't you throw out a name and have Jim give the nickname?
He only knows the nicknames.
Okay, how about Doug?
Hedge.
Oh, why did you call him that?
Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Because he looks like a hedgehog.
All the time or just first thing in the morning?
most of the time, except when he went to church.
So who of John and Margie's kids got nicknamed by Jim?
All of
I
them, I
did-
think.
I didn't. I didn't have a nickname from Jim. Always felt a little cheated.
You and me both, Linda. I'm in company.
All right.
If I had one, I don't remember it. Can somebody help me?
Well, you had sawed off.
Yeah, but that wasn't from Jim, was it? That was from Grandpa.
Right.
So Jim, who of John and Margie's kids did you have nicknames for?
Oh, I don't know. Most of them.
What about Jay?
Boogus.
That one's still pretty good, I think.
How about Nola?
Well, what's the origin of Boogus?
I don't know that.
I think Jim is going to get tired of us asking him the origin for each name. I don't think he has them.
I don't.
Make him tell about Nola's, because I think that did have an origin of some kind.
What'd you call Nola?
Smags.
Does that have an origin?
She might remember one. I can't.
Do you, Linda?
I don't know for sure. Nola was down here this weekend, and I said, "Are you going to listen to the family call today? Because it's going to be about nicknames." And she said, "Oh, well, maybe I'll just get on my phone and listen." But apparently she's not on, so I thought it had something to do with that she was like a little maggot, but I don't know if that was accurate or not. And she said, doesn't know. She said, I said, "So did you like that nickname, Nola?" And she said, "Well, I never even thought about it. It was just my name." So, and she still feels that way. It's my name.
Okay, Jim, I'm going to tell you a person. You tell me their nickname. Tanya.
Cub or cub rat.
Marie.
Cover.
Milo.
Really.
Melanie.
Gupper.
Who's next? Lena?
Brent. Did you get Brent?
Oh, yeah, Brent.
Dumasil.
Lena?
Ugmeyer.
Kevin?
Argy Darlin.
Joe?
Buster Hyde.
Buster Hyde. Fuss stuck pretty well. All my friends that have ever been to Lava branding all ask me how Fuss is doing.
And how is he doing?
I don't know, but I tell him he's good.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah, I think you give him the right answer.
And then, I don't know if you remember, Jim, but I know that my older brothers, Willis and Justin, said that when they were kids, you had nicknames for them. You remember
Yeah.
what you called them?
Wilgie and Berkey.
Wilgie and Berkey Malone, the Bottle Boys, is the way I remember it.
Yeah.
And then when I was little, you would call me Timothy O'Leary, whose cow jumped over the moon.
Yeah.
And I never knew what that came from, but I assumed it was from my great brave axe. And you call Joseph Knapp Joseph. Are there any other ones we missed from Jim?
That's about it.
No, wasn't Sean John the napkin holder or something? Was that from Jim?
Think so.
Hmm?
I think so.
And I was Cassie Nova. And I know that Amber was Amber Waves of Grain and Dawn was Dawn's Early Light.
Ah.
I don't know if Guy or Heather had one, did they?
Well, everyone called Guy Guyman. I don't know if that was Jim or not.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember one for Heather.
You remember when we were all up to Justin's wedding and Megan's brother was the master of ceremonies of the program, and he said that Justin's nickname was Berkey. He says, I don't know where that nickname come, but I hope I never hear it again. Remember that, all of you?
I don't.
Maybe he said Berkey Malone. He was either Berkey or Berkey Malone. He said he hoped he would never hear that again.
I wonder why he cared about that.
That was going to be his brother-in-law, Tim.
I wouldn't care if I had a brother-in-law named Berkey Malone.
Yeah, but you didn't live in Canada.
You do have a brother named Berkey Malone.
Yeah, and it doesn't bother me one bit.
Like you said, you're not Canadian.
There's Jay.
Yep. So did you guys finish all of my siblings? I joined a little late.
I guess I didn't get mine for Jim. Mine was Wooly. I don't know other than maybe Mom used to just cut our hair short and in the summer and probably just Fuzzy.
Jay, we need your nickname from Grandpa if you had one though.
I don't remember having one from Grandpa. Did you guys get Herman, the something German that we can't use now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't stop that.
Didn't stop somebody from throwing it out.
No, we might all be in jail.
Yeah, I might have to put this YouTube video on the private list.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might get banned.
Okay, are there other members of the family that we haven't covered? Well, are there any of Keith and Irma's kids that had nicknames that we haven't mentioned?
I don't know anything other than I know when Anita came up, they were calling her Tina, and I don't know where that came from, but she did not like it. I don't know who started it, whether it was her brother or Ben, but that's what I thought her name was for the first while that I remember. But she didn't like it when people called her Tina.
Ken, did you give nicknames to your kids?
I'd have to ask their mother, but what she's thinking about it, one name that hasn't been mentioned is before John and Margie were married, John called Margie Pinky. Do you remember that?
No.
No.
Do you know where
Yeah, he
that came
called her
from?
Pinky. No, I don't.
Did Jim have nicknames for Kim and Marcy's kids?
Remember, Jim?
I didn't hear that.
Amber wants to know if you had nicknames for Kim and Marcy's kids.
Oh. Probably not.
So Ken, are you waiting for Colleen to remember if you had nicknames for your kids?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna remember.
Okay.
She says she's not going to remember.
All right, Doug, did you have nicknames for your kids?
I had one for Guy. Ching Chang the Chinaman got reduced to just Chinaman, or Charlie Chinaman, and just Chinaman.
What was that origin?
No good explanation for that. His middle name is Charles, and Chinaman has a C in front of it, and Charles has a C in front of it.
Amber, do you remember any nicknames for your kid, your siblings, and you from your dad?
Well, I don't remember that you used to call, was it you or Heather? I know Heather used to, but I thought it came from you that you called me Berkeley.
Oh yeah, Am Berkeley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one now.
So Doug, my brother Jess only speaks Spanish to his kids, you know, and he calls Caleb Chino, which is Spanish for Chinese, and the origin of that is simple, is because Caleb has squinty eyes.
Okay, did I have nicknames for my kids?
Yeah.
What was Lisa?
I don't know. Lisa?
In preschool, you called me Pud.
Oh.
Or maybe
for pudding. I remember that now. Yeah.
But I didn't get, let's see. I didn't get called that very much, but when I was really little, I got called that. And then I didn't much have a nickname until somewhat recently, and my kids have given me about 6.
You want to tell
them? So John David called me Sally for a while, which is an anagram of Lisa because he spelled Sally S-A-L-I. Michael called me Clee, and he and James still kind of do. Most common now, my brothers call me this too, is Lily. My kids call me that too. Seems like there's more, I can't think of them. James calls me Drama Mama. But
is that because you're so brave?
Oh, no, it's because he thinks I'm just all about being dramatic when I go on. Now, this predates me going on KSL and saying, I've had COVID for 4 months, and now 5, and then ended up in the Deseret News with it too, and he calls me on the phone, he's like, oh, Mom, I saw you on TV, Drama Mama. But I think there's more, I can't think of them. JD has a longer one, I can't think of it, but my favorite of all of those is Lily.
Okay, do any of you remember a nickname for Willis? that originated with naps?
Well, we probably don't have enough time to talk about all of your kids' nicknames from Sean, but I don't know about the nicknames you have given yourself.
You can just talk about Sean's nickname for you, Tim. We have enough time for that.
No, we don't, because there are 30 of them.
Well, my nickname for Tim was Tim Tam Pumpkin Boy.
Tim Tam Tum Punky Boy.
Yeah, that's right.
And sometimes you called me Bimbo, and sometimes you called me Meania One.
That's right.
And I don't know where that came from, but you had a whole song you would sing me.
Well, I feel like we can't, and I know the whole, getting into the whole Sean nickname thing is huge, but I don't feel like we can have a conversation on nicknames without going into the fat on, fat S kind of a story. Who wants to tell the fat S story?
I will, I guess. Are we getting into that, Louise?
Let's see if anybody else has other things to contribute before we switch to that. Anybody else have any others?
My two youngest have nicknames given by their older brother, Josh. Jonathan is Jaundice, and Riley is Poops. They went to college, and Jonathan says, "Don't you dare tell anybody what my nickname is." But it finally got out, so did Riley. But Riley doesn't care for a minute.
Okay, all right. Paul, what did you want to say?
I wanted to, there was a nickname given, and I was told that it originated from our family. It was Grant Thompson was called Hank. And when I went to school, it was always Hank. And one time one of the kids said, "Hank," and he wheeled around. He was in the shop. He wheeled around. He says, "Who said that?" And he was looking for who. "My name is Grant, not Hank." Everybody at Marsh Valley called him Hank except for to his face.
I didn't know it wasn't his name.
So somebody told me Doug did that. I don't know. Somebody will have to set it straight whether it was came from Doug or Jim or who.
First time I heard it was when Hank Thompson came to sing at the restaurant, and then I found out that Doug had named Grant Thompson after Hank Thompson.
Any comment, Doug?
No.
Okay.
If we're starting to talk about nicknames for school teachers, there was a school teacher we called Queenie. I don't know if the rest of you knew that at Marsh Valley.
I know her. I knew her.
Yeah, I knew her too.
I'd forgotten that, but yes, I do remember.
Roy and I knew her too.
Then there was a science teacher they called Chrome Dome.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was Henderson.
I had one of those too in Minnesota.
Okay, Jim, do you want to tell the fat on story?
Yeah, so Sean we could have an encyclopedia for nicknames that have come from Sean, but one of his styles was he would drop the first consonant of your name. So Justin got turned into Ustin, which got turned into Usty. Joseph got turned into Joe, dropped the J to O. Jess got turned to S. Tim got turned to M. And then when Jess and I were teenagers, we had some friends that would say the word fat as a regular adjective as a substitute for stupid or freaking or whatever. Instead of say like, I have to do my freaking homework, they'd say I have to do my fat homework. So that rubbed off onto me and Jess. So we said that word a lot. And then that got put in front of the nicknames that were missing the first letter. So Joseph became Fat O, and Sean became Fat On, and I became Fat M. And so when I was on my mission, Jess started dating Lindsay, his now wife, and Joseph lived in California. So Lindsay had met all of the family except for Joseph, and she'd heard about him from Jess and stuff. And so when they were dating or maybe engaged, Joseph was in town, so they went over to my parents' house. And as you all know, I'm sure, when Joseph is in town, he's the center stage in the spotlight. So he's up in front of everyone talking and getting animated and telling the stories. And every time he talks about Jess, he says, and then Fat ass did this, and then Fat ass did that. And when they were done visiting, Jess and Lindsay were driving away, and Lindsay said, I thought you said that Joseph was like this really like righteous spiritual guy. And Jess is like, yeah, he is. She's like, well, why did he keep swearing? He's like, what do you mean? Well, he kept swearing about you. He kept like insulting you. And then Jess finally realized that Lindsay misunderstood fat ass. So he had to explain the letter was an E, not an A.
So here's a follow-up on that. When Kathy was out here a couple of weeks ago for James's wedding, Sean was talking about fat ass, and she had her son Sam with her. And Sam said, why does Sean keep saying bad words? And Kathy said, and same thing, explained it to him. And then Sam said, well, from now on, my name's Fat Am. So it goes another generation, apparently.
Kathy, do you remember any nicknames given to you?
By you or by who?
Yeah, me or anybody.
Well, I already said I was Cassie Nova from Jim, and most of you know I'm called Laddie, and that stuck.
Up with that one.
Mention any of the other ones.
Who gave you Laddie?
I don't remember. I just remember that it was that year in Idaho Falls, and we have a working TV, so we had to spend more time together. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was Sean. But I don't know who came up with it first, but it's the only one that stuck.
I thought it was a derivative. Didn't Willis call you something like Lahigagigan?
Did that come first before Laddie?
A good question.
Because I would have gotten Laddie while he was on his mission.
Okay, well, it's probably from Sean then.
We all called Ruth Buffy, and we still do, because she was always so strong and ripped, and she could beat boys in arm wrestles.
And brave.
Somebody help me out with this origin. For a while, people were calling Sean Mari or Mariposa, which means butterfly in Spanish. And then that got changed to Margaret. So the brothers were calling him Margaret or Margot. And one time I was at a work party, a work Christmas party with John, and one of my kids called and needed a ride. I'm like, yeah, I'm in Salt Lake. That's not happening. Call Laddie and see if she can come pick you up. And one of the coworkers like, you know a girl named Laddie? I'm like, yeah, and my sister and my brother's name is Margaret. People don't get our family. People just don't understand us.
All right, any others? Jim, do you have any others you can think of to tell us?
Do you have any others, Jim?
No, you guys are doing good.
All right, does anybody else want to say anything before we change the subject and turn off the recorder?
I realized that using fat and take away the first consonant, I'd be the new fat on.
And one of you girls started, Amber, was your nickname Roy? That sure threw me off when we went to Lavender. You were the one being called Roy.
Yeah, in my freshman year of college, I talk lazy and I slur my words, so I called my roommate Allison Rallison. And one of my roommates was one of Don's friends from high school who used to call me Joy when I was younger. That made me mad because I hated that name because, you know, I was so joyful, clearly. But so they started calling me Roy, and some people,
Your friends here.
that's what they still call me. I had friends for like 6-7 years that didn't even know that wasn't my real name. So most of my friends from college, that's all they called me and still call me to this day. Yeah, for sure. And
We forgot one. BT.
Oh.
Jim, what did you used to call Brandon?
T-Burger.
T-Burger?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the origin for that?
T-Burger.
Didn't it start as Booger T. Washington?
Yeah, you used to call him Booger T. Washington, didn't you?
No, I don't think. Not that I can remember.
Oh, someone did.
I'm glad you enjoyed a good name, Amber.
yeah, Roy, one time Mindy messaged me on Hotmail and was chatting away, just saying hi. And I think it took her 5 to 10 minutes before she realized she wasn't chatting with her dad and couldn't figure out how he all of a sudden had an email and had instant messaging. It was like in 2006. She's like, what are you doing in California? Because it was when I lived there. And I was like, I live here. She's like, what? And like, but because that was my nickname on my instant messenger back then. So it was.
Older, huh?
Yeah. So luckily she didn't tell me any deep dark secrets that you guys had.
Probably didn't know any.
Or you want to remember them anyway.
All right. Well,
Amber, when you were little and you were called Amber Joy, I thought that was a nickname because of Joy School or something. I didn't know it was your middle name for years.
Yeah, because my preschool I went to was Joy School. And Don used to say, good thing they named you Joy, because that's the only time you're ever going to be joyful.
Oh, yeah. Well, what fun. It's been fun. Any others before we switch? Okay, well, thank